much, Rama. Thank you very much, and good afternoon to everyone. It is truly an honor to be presenting my work at CSS CPR Urban Workshop series. I have been following this platform for many years, and it has shaped the urban scholarship in South Asia in many ways. And so, being here today, sharing the early stages of my research feels both humbling and significant. So the work I am presenting today is part of my ongoing doctoral dissertation. I'm writing my chapters. So it examines the contemporary transformation of Bodhgaya, a global Buddhist pilgrimage center that is simultaneously a small town navigating developmental pressure, a spiritual economy, and competing imaginations of places. I'm still in the midst of my fieldwork, continuing interviews and observations with monastic communities, pilgrims, tourists, hoteliers, tour operators, NGOs, and local residents. As with most my ethnographic work, my questions, assumptions, and theoretical structures are still evolving, sometimes slowly, sometimes abruptly, depending on the day, the conversation, or the confusion I walk away with. While I share today, this is not a finished chapter, but a working piece, something I'm thinking through rather than something I have resolved. I am still grappling with where exactly this sits theoretically, whether within the anthropology of religion, global religion, or urban transformation, or a spiritual economy, or in heritage management, or do they converge together uh, all? And so this presentation is very much invitation for your comments, your questions, and disagreements and progression will genuinely help me shape this, how this become a really good chapter and eventually a coherent PhD thesis. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to think a lot with this community, and I look forward to learning from your insights. PPT. PPT. I'm not able to control it. No, no, it's not there. It's not. Yeah. From this one? No, no. Okay. We sent it to Anna. That presentation? Yes. Yes. I think you have the access. No, 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 I don't have access. I'm not connected to any laptop. No. Can you just tell me what it is?
Just wait for 2 minutes. We are just getting his PPT.
No, I'm not able to control it. I'm not able to control it. Yeah, now it's working. Yeah. Is it working? No. Yeah, it is working. Can you start it from the beginning?
Okay.
Yeah, it is getting.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the patience. I will be speaking on the topic pilgrimage, wellness, and development, the role of global Buddhist networks in Bodhgaya's transformation. So, Bodhgaya today sits at the intersection of profound spiritual symbolism and a striking developmental inequality. As the site of Buddha's enlightenment, it is the most iconic pilgrimage destination in the Buddhist world, a place whose sacredness has animated centuries of devotion, imagination, and transregional mobility. Yet the contemporary tone that surrounds this global shrine tells a very different story. One marked by infrastructural fragility, second, uneven development, and third, chronic state neglect. This tension between global sacred prominence and local infrastructural marginality forms the central paradox that animates this study. Despite its status as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and its position within India's highest profile religious tourism circuit, Bodh Gaya's civic landscape has long remained characterized by unreliable waste management, inconsistent electricity, seasonal water scarcity, traffic congestion, and improvised planning. The scholars have shown how this paradox is not incidental but symptomatic of a deeper political economy in which heritage branding and international spectacle often overshadow local needs. While the Mahabodhi temple becomes the centerpiece of global Buddhist imagination, the material lives of people living around it remain precarious. Yet the last 2 decades have produced an unexpected transformation, not led by the state but by transnational Buddhist networks. Tibetan, Thai, Japanese, Sri Lankan, Bhutanese, Taiwanese, Burmese, Vietnamese, and increasingly Western Buddhist organizations have founded monasteries, a meditation center, retreat facilities, a wellness institute, community schools, and philanthropic foundation that now constitute the most dynamic engine of development in the town. So these institutions have become not only religious center but also infrastructural actors, civic providers, employers, philanthropists, and even urban planners. This dramatic reorientation of development responsibility raises some important queries. How do these global Buddhist networks reshape a sacred city? And what kind of infrastructure do they build? Do they build spiritual only, or do they build material or social infrastructure? And how do local residents negotiate and experience these transformations? And lastly, what does Bodhgaya reveal about religion, urbanism, and development? This study argues that both gas transformation can be conceptualized as a form of transnational Dhamma urbanism, a model of development in which global Buddhist actors, spiritual entrepreneurs, and engaged Buddhist organizations become primary agents of urban change. Unlike conventional development paradigm driven by the state or market, this form of urban transformation is anchored in Buddhist ethics, ritual economies, global religious networks, and wellness-oriented spiritual consumption. So the arrival of international monasteries in the late 20th and early 21st century radically expanded both their spatial, aesthetic, and economic contours. Scholars have documented how these institutions operate not merely as a religious sites, but as a transnational nodes, organizational hubs embedded in global circuits of donation, devotion, and pilgrimage. Today, Bodh Gaya hosts over 70 major monasteries and meditation centers, sprawling Tibetan monastic compounds with Himalayan architectural idioms, Thai and Burmese temple with ornate stupas, Japanese Jain centers, Vipassana retreat facilities, Taiwanese folk structures, and Western-run yoga and meditation institutes. So these institutions do far more than host monks. They cultivate a global spiritual economy. They attract seasonal pilgrims during the winter influx, international meditators enrolled in month-long retreats, monastic students pursuing Buddhist education, philanthropic volunteers working in local schools, wellness tourists seeking mindfulness and healing, religious dignitaries participating in international conferences and ritual practices. So these flows generate a transnational ecology through which Bodh Gaya is no longer merely a site of memory, but a lived crossroad of global Buddhism. So these are some pictures. The first one is a Meta Buddharam temple. It is a Thai architect. It is a Thai monastery. The second one is a Indo-San Nipponji Japanese temple, which is commonly known as Japanese temple in Bodh Gaya. It was built by Japanese Brotherhood Association of internationally, and another monastery is again affiliated to Thailand, and it hosts many courses on yoga, mindfulness, spirituality, and Buddhist philosophy. And the last picture is of Paliol Namdroling Monastery. This is the seat of Peno Rinpoche in Bodhgaya, and it is a very big campus. It can accommodate hundreds of thousands of people at one time, and they host so many ritual activities related to Tibetan Buddhism. So the prominence of global Buddhist networks must be understood against the backdrop of weak state-led development. Bodhgaya as a town trapped between rurality and urban aspiration, where infrastructural planning is reactive and politically fragmented. Public roads often remain unrepaired for years, drainage is incomplete, municipal waste disposal is inconsistent, and neighborhood level services rely heavily on private initiatives. So this developmental vacuum creates an opening for Buddhist institutions. Monasteries pave local roads around their compound. So while I was doing the field work, I was conducting an interview of a head monk of a Sri Lankan monastery. So when they bought the plot of land to build this monastery, that village was not connected via Pakka road. So they requested the district administration to build a Pakka road because there will be influx of foreigners in that village, and that village is not very far from Mahabodhi temple. It is around only 2 kilometers from the Mahabodhi temple complex. So after the coming of these monasteries in that village, particular village, the district administration built a Pakka road and it connected with the Bodhgaya main market. Retreat centers also install water purification system and accessible to which is accessible to surrounding households. International NGOs run free schools and health clinics. Pilgrimage organization sponsor community meals and winter relief during the winter. They do some kind of blanket distribution drive and all. Donors fund the construction of neighborhood toilets, street lighting, and wells. So, in effect, Buddhist institutions become quasi-municipal actors, providing civic infrastructure more consistently than the state. So, this dynamic parallels broader patterns of Buddhist social engagement elsewhere. Pilgrims in Bodhgaya consider welfare and service integral to their spiritual discipline. Transnational Dhamma networks integrate development into their religious missions, the different entrepreneurial dimension of spiritual organization. So these are some of the examples. The first one is the Bodhaya Juga Queen. It is a kindergarten run by one of the Japanese monastery. Uh, Earlier, they used to follow a proper Japanese curriculum. These are some of the pictures of distribution drive done in a nearby village. So initially they planned, while I was doing the field work, initially they planned to distribute 2,000 ration kits to the people. But the public came in large number, so the ration kits were unavailable. So what they do, very funnily, they brought dollars of cash in a big sack, and they packed it in a pouch, $10 each in a pack, and the one who could not get the rations, they distributed direct cash to them. A significant part of Bodhgaya's contemporary transformation is driven by the rise of a global wellness and a spiritual tourism economy. Retreat centers offering Vipassana meditation courses, Buddhist philosophy courses, yoga therapy, and mindfulness training. These have grown very rapidly. Many draw international practitioners who stay for weeks or months, generating new forms of economic demand, extended lodging, healthy foods, bookshop, massage centers, art shops, and eco-friendly cafes. So this wellness-oriented urbanism aligns with the what scholarship describe as the globalization of Buddhist aspirations, while religious practices becomes intertwined with self-development, healing, and spiritual consumption. So in Bodh Gaya, this take form of long-term meditation courses, spiritual detox and wellness camps, yoga meditation hybrid retreats, Buddhist philosophy intensives, and compassion training workshops, and trauma-informed meditation programs for foreigners. So these retreats reshape not only the economy but also experiential geography of the Bodh Gaya. Quiet enclaves emerge amid chaotic markets. Landscaped meditation campuses contrast with crowded neighborhoods. Retreat spaces promises inner peace just a few hundred meters away from the congested road and noisy processions. This spatial juxtaposition highlights the contradiction of global spiritual urbanism. Serenity is curated within walls while municipal disorders persist outside. So these are some of the example of. There is a very wonderful institute called Root Institute for Wisdom and Culture. It is being governed by managed by FPMT. It is called Foundation for the Preservation of Mahayana Tradition. They run several courses related to Tibetan Buddhism, related to yoga, related to mindfulness, and the faculties who are teaching there, they are very highly trained. Some of them have been trained in divinity. They are PhD in divinity from Harvard Divinity School, from Stanford Divinity School. Another picture is a meditation hall in Wat Niranjana Ravas. And these are the two pictures in Bodhgaya since 1980s, early 1980s. Carleton University is running a program. They enroll their students who are enrolled in Carleton University. They ask the students to enroll for this course, which is a 3 months course, which is being held in Bodhgaya in a monastery inside a monastery. They teach Buddhist philosophy. They teach Hindi. They teach the local language, which is called Magahi. They teach yoga. They teach Vipassana. So the first picture is from the batch of 1988, and the last picture is, I think, this is from the 2023 batch. So both Gaya's contemporary transformation is shaped by multiple overlapping intellectual currents, scholarships on global Buddhist modernity, spiritual entrepreneurship, engaged Buddhism, heritage politics, and urban religious studies. So these will be my three conceptual clusters. So together, these frameworks help to theorize the emergence of what this paper calls transnational Dhamma urbanism, a mode of urban development shaped by religious mobility, uh, global circuits of Buddhist capital, and a spiritual economic innovation. So the transformation of Bodhgaya cannot be understood without situating it within the broader scholarship on global Buddhist modernities. Buddhism today circulates through extensive transnational networks involving monasteries, lay practitioners, philanthropic organizations, and the state actors. So these networks operate across national and cultural boundaries, linking Bodhgaya to Kathmandu, to Lumbini, to Colombo, to Lhasa, Bangkok, Singapore, Tokyo, Berkeley, Dharamsala, and other Asian cities where Buddhism is prevalent. So, because the Buddha attained enlightenment at Bodhgaya, the town holds a very unique spiritual legitimacy. Bodhgaya has reinvented as an imagined Buddhist homeland, uh, particularly within the Tibetan and Himalayan Buddhist worlds. So, ritual, memory, and global pilgrimage are reshaping the Mahabodhi temple's sacred geography. In the Tibetan context, Bodhgaya becomes a symbolic homeland, a navel of the earth where karmic power and historical authority converge. And these processes are not merely devotional, they are institutional. Tibetan monastic universities, Thai missionary organizations, Sri Lankan Lay Association, Japanese Jain centers, Taiwanese humanistic Buddhist orders, Burmese Temple Trust, and Vietnamese revivalist group all mobilize resources to build religious infrastructure in Bodhgaya. And these institutions bring the network of donors, they bring building funds, they bring architectural expertise, they bring volunteers, they provide monastic education programs, they bring ritual specialists, and at the same time, they bring global media attention. This sacred space is produced not automatically, but through continuous ritual inscription, renovation, and reinterpretation. In Bodhgaya, these practices intersect with global mobility, creating a dynamic environment in which multiple Buddhist traditions continuously remake the landscape. Thus, Bodhgaya becomes a cosmopolitan Buddhist metropolis where Buddhist modernity is lived, built, and contested. Both get attract thousands of international visitors who seek meditation training, mindfulness experience, ritual participation. They enroll in wellness retreats, spiritual transformation, ethical tourism, and last but not least, culturally immersive healing. So this type of spiritual consumers arrive not only as a pilgrim but as a seeker of experience, self-cultivation and inner transformation. Many come for month-long Vipassana retreats, others attend Dhamma lectures, yoga workshops or counseling style meditation sessions. So both Gaya's wellness infrastructure similarly represent a fusion of ethical ideals, which is compassion, healing, mindfulness, aesthetic strategies like landscaped gardens, quiet campuses, and at the same time entrepreneurial planning, international branding, retreat packages, and religious mission, teaching dhamma, cultivating merit, protecting the heritage. So this combination forms a spiritual economy, a set of practices where religious teachings, global well-being trends, and economic activity become interdependent. Retreat centers, they position themselves as sanctuaries of peace, detox spaces, mindfulness laboratories, ethical communities, and sites of spiritual healing. So they generate revenue, but also craft environments that embody Buddhist values. The boundaries between religious mission and entrepreneurial practices are fluid here. This does not dilute Buddhism. Rather, it rematerializes it in new urban forms. Many monasteries employ local youth and train volunteers, host international donors, and maintain global chapters. Their networks of funding and moral prestige enable them to build infrastructure that surpass municipal capabilities. Uh, Another theoretical cluster I'm dealing with is engaged Buddhism. So, engaged Buddhism emphasizes social transformation guided by Buddhist ethics. So, the pilgrims in Bodhgaya increasingly frame their spiritual growth in relation to social actions such as supporting schools, health clinics, and helping marginalized communities. So, this aligns with the global movement of engaged Buddhism, where compassion, which is karuna, and interdependence, which is called pratitya samudpada, become practical principles for community welfare. Engaged Buddhism in Bodhgaya includes, we have already discussed, free schools, women literacy program, health camps, food security, hostel and sponsorship for rural students, environment cleanliness drives. So many Buddhist organizations, what they do, they frame their infrastructural investments from building hostels to paving roads as act of which is generosity. So this creates a moral infrastructural paradigm in which religious merit, social welfare, community upliftment, donor intention, architectural construction all become intertwined. In some monasteries, decision making about land, schooling, and welfare is guided not by bureaucratic procedure but by ethical deliberation grounded in Buddhist ethics, Buddhist teachings. So it is not development as administration, but development as ethical practice. The contemporary transformation of Bodhgaya is the latest chapter in a long and contested history of the sacred authority, heritage governance, and religious politics. To understand how global Buddhist networks today shape the city's urban life, it is essential to trace the historical processes and through which Bodhgaya became a site of transnational significance and state intervention and negotiations. So together, these trajectories reveal how Bodhgaya's identity has been repeatedly reimagined from a regional Shaivite center to a global Buddhist homeland, producing the conditions that shape its current developmental politics. So modern Bodhgaya's transformation began not with the contemporary tourism, but with the colonial era disputes over ritual authority and heritage ownership. These contestations most famously documented in the works of Angarika Dharmapala, which established the foundation for the global Buddhist claims to Bodhgaya. And until the 19th century, the Mahabodhi temple was effectively a Hindu managed Saivite shrine. The presence of a Sivlinga still located within the temple, which symbolized the deep entanglement of Buddhist and Hindu tradition at this site. So, Bodh was embedded in a local networks of Hindu pilgrimage, ritual economies, and monastic patronage system that shaped its everyday life. My work does not deal more with this part. There are some authors who have written about it, like Ian Copeland and Professor Abhishek Singh Amar. So these syncretic traditions were not peripheral; they formed the dominant mode of sacred practices for centuries. So after the British archaeological interventions, particularly under the Alexander Cunningham and the Archaeological Survey of India, they reframed Bodh Gaya as a Buddhist archaeological monument. This shift aligned with the colonial knowledge system that privileged textual antiquity, architectural ruins, and civilizational narratives. Cunningham's restoration, while central to modern heritage conservation, also displaced the claim of local Saivite claims and reinterpreted the temple through a universalized Buddhist historical lens. Uh, so Angarika Dharmapala established Mahabodhi Society of India, and he reignited the global Buddhist consciousness around Bodhgaya. He campaigned and he framed Bodhgaya as the heart of Buddhist world. He mobilized international donors from Japan, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, and Europe, and he advanced the claims for Buddhist custodianship. This debate started way back in 1930s. So Dharmapala's activism positioned both Gayas within transnational networks of Buddhists who saw India as the rightful homeland of the Dhamma. His efforts produced the earliest version of what this work calls a transnational Buddhist urbanism, a model in which global communities claim moral, historical, and political rights over the city's sacred geography. And after 1947, Bodhgaya entered a phase defined by state intervention, heritage bureaucratization, and contested sovereignty. So, government of Bihar introduced Bodhgaya Temple Act 1949. The Bihar government introduced a unique governance structure. They where 50% will be Hindu representation, 50% will be Buddhist representation, and district magistrate of Gaya as ex officio chairman. Earlier, what was there that before prior to 2013, this act stated that the DM of Gaya should be Hindu, or if the DM of Gaya is not Hindu, then the chairmanship should be given to some other Hindu person. But this was repealed in 2013 amendment. But still, the 50% representation of Buddhist and 50% representation of Hindu is still there. So this hybrid arrangement reflected political pragmatism rather than historical clarity. While meant to resolve conflict, it institutionalized the tension between ritual authority, minority rights, and heritage governance. The act secularized the sacred management, turning the Mahabodhi temple into a bureaucratically governed monument rather than a religious institution under a single tradition. Uh, Beginning in the 1960s, Bodhgaya experienced a dramatic reorientation driven by global religious flows and geopolitical shifts. I will be discussing this in more detail in the next sections. So while I examined the historical and structural foundations of Bodhgaya's transformation, now I turn to the ethnographic textures, the everyday practices, interpersonal encounters, institutional rhythm, and lived negotiation that shape Bodhgaya as transnational Buddhist city. This foregrounds the micro-social world in which both global network, spiritual markets, and ethical projects become concretely enacted. So both is not merely a spiritual destination, it is an ethnographic field of constant movements, pilgrims, donors, volunteers, tourists, migrant laborers, hotel staff, rickshaw pullers, and local youth all interact within the dense, overlapping social worlds. These interactions reveal not only global religious flows, but also the everyday strategies through which local residents navigate opportunity, inequality, aspiration, and religious change. Pilgrimage in both gays embodied practices that unfolds through circumambulation around the Mahabodhi temple, meditation under the Bodhi tree, offerings, vows, prostrations, chanting and guided rituals, walking routes connecting monasteries, local markets where pilgrims negotiate food, souvenirs, and religious objects. So, if you go to the sabji mandi of Bodhgaya in the morning session, because the farmer come directly to the mandi and they sell this produce to these foreigners, you will hear at least 6 to 7 languages, 6 to 7 foreign languages in the mandi. Someone is talking in Korean, someone is talking in Chinese, someone is talking in Japanese, and at the same time they bargain with the local farmers in broken Hindi. Uh, the agriculture paradigm of Bodhgaya has also shifted. I have written about in the caravan. The farmers have started growing very exotic vegetables. The vegetables which are required for food in the continental food, European food, or the Asian foods. So they have started growing these kind of foods instead of wheat and all other seasonal crops. So there is a very funny story that during the COVID time, the pilgrims could not come in a huge number. So there was a farmer I was interviewing. He started growing strawberries. So there was no customers to sell it to the foreigners, and local people did not like the taste and they did not prefer the taste. So these strawberries had to be fed to cows, and these were all these were all organics or organic produce. Some of my ethnographic observations are like when the Tibetan pilgrims temporarily remake Bodhgaya into a portable homeland, filling the streets with their specific foods, winter markets, Tibetan ritual objects, and diasporic Tibetan aesthetics. If you roam the streets of Bodhgaya, where the Tibetan presence of Tibetan is very evident, you will feel like you are not in Bodhgaya, you are in Tibet. But if you just move from that street to another street, which is dominated by Thai, you will feel like you are in Thailand. So their gathering transforms the sonic, visual, and economic landscape of the town. And Southeast Asian pilgrims experience Bodh as a site of karmic accumulation, uh, in merit transfer, and a spiritual renewal, which is often mediated by their tour leaders. Sometimes, most of the time, they are from their own country. They speak their language, and translators and ritual specialists. Japanese practitioners bring notions of peace activism, heritage nostalgia, and Buddhist identity tourism. So these diverse pilgrim publics produce a mosaic of a ritual presence, each with their own sacred geographies and temporalities. Everyday interactions of local, like negotiating prices, asking directions, sharing food, or navigating the temple queues, reveal very different things. It reveals differing moral expectations, competing interactions and sacred space, tensions around photography, clothing, and tourist behavior, emerging forms of cosmopolitan etiquette. These encounters highlight how transnational spiritual life is mediated by cross-cultural negotiation, humor, conflict, and embodied learning. So what you see, like there will be boys roaming in Bodhgaya. They will write a phrase like polite on their bike, so that okay, come and ask me about the direction, and then I will take you on my bike or my car to roam the places. And sometimes they charge, sometimes they do not charge, sometimes the tourists pay them according to their wish. So both yes, monastic landscapes is exceptionally diverse, including Tibetan, Thai, Burmese, Japanese, Sri Lankan, Bhutanese, Taiwanese, Vietnamese, and Western Buddhist organizations. Each constitute a node in a global religious network, but also functions as a local institution affecting everyday life. So monasteries serve multiple functions. They serve as a ritual center. They serve as a pilgrim hostels. They train. They do training and educational. They serve as a training and educational institutions. They are involved in welfare and relief agencies. They are employment generators. They are really big land holding entities. And lastly, but not the least, they work as an urban developers. So the combination of spiritual and infrastructural roles position monasteries as de facto development actors within both Gaya's urban economy. A spiritual entrepreneurship in monasteries appears in very different form, like meditation courses, language classes for international monks as well as local youths. So there was a time in Bodh Gaya, the youth wanted to learn foreign language so much, and uh, uh, the people enroll for foreign language courses in JNU, in Delhi University, in Banaras Hindu universities, and those who could not crack the entrance, they joined private institutes. Like if they wanted to learn German, they enrolled in Goethe Institute. If they wanted to learn French, they enrolled in Alliance Francaise. Uh, and after a point of time, if they have learned for a year or 2 year, they will go to the respective country either on a sponsorship by some foreigners, or if they are not able to get, they will wait for some years, and again if they do not get, they will arrange some money and they will go to the particular country, and they are really good speaker, like they speak the foreign language like a native. These monasteries also do cultural conferences, cultural performances, and monastery operated cafes and craft shops. So last year in Royal Wat Thai, this is a Thai monastery. A Michelin star chef has opened a cafe in Royal Wat Thai. They serve authentic Thai food to the Thai people and at the same time to the international visitors who want to experience Thai food in Bodhgaya. They do these monastery do fundraising tours. So what do they do during the pilgrim season? They all stay in Bodh Gaya. They do all these kinds of activities, but during the summer Bodh Gaya is kind of very empty. Like very less tourist presence, except the monastics who are staying in the monasteries and who are taking the Buddhist philosophy courses. The international visitors, especially from the west, they do not come during the summer. So these monasteries, the organizers of this monastery, they go to US, they go to Europe, they go to Canada, they go to Japan. They do fundraising tours there. So they raise the fund for during the summer season, and again they invite these people to both get during the winters. They come, they again do donation, they again go to local villages, they again go to schools and health clinics and donate there. Uh, and the monasteries also bring global volunteer programs, which includes very good students. Most of the students come from very prestigious universities like Ivy League and Oxford and Cambridge. And particularly they do a sponsorship network for local children. There has been cases of fetishization of this as well, but we will deal with this later. So these practices are kind of a pedagogical tourism, but in both they go further, blending monastic authority with market oriented models that generate income, legitimacy and spiritual prestige. They provide employment to local people as well. So most monastery hire local resident as basic services like cooks, gardeners, guards, construction worker, cleaners, English or Hindi teacher, and administrative assistants. So through these employment networks, monasteries shape local aspirations, class mobility, and linguistic educational outcomes. So, based on my observation, I call Bodhgaya as a field of ethical experimentation. Engaged Buddhist activities in Bodhgaya include, we have already talked, like schools for underprivileged children and health camps and all these things. So, such initiative emerge from all traditions, all sects of Buddhism, each articulating Buddhist ethics in distinct idioms. Monastic schools frame their education as merit making for donors and as emancipation for local children, because there is a very high poverty rate in and around the Bodh Gaya. Uh, and humanistic Buddhist groups, especially Taiwanese organizations, emphasize compassion through secular spiritual welfare. Thai meditation centers extend their monastic missions through lay volunteer programs for local youth. These initiatives produce a moral economy of care, where the gifting of knowledge, resources, or spiritual training becomes a site for ethical identity formation for both givers and the receivers. Local residents do not passively receive this global Buddhist or influence. They actively interpret, contest, and reconfigure it. Some of the examples include youth learning Japanese, Korean to work in the pilgrimage hospitality, families sending their children to these monastic schools for free education, strategic land leasing to the monasteries, hybrid spiritual practices, ambivalence towards foreign funded welfare. So I observed that transnational Buddhism also bring invisible inequalities. Uh, it brings seasonal wealth concentrations. So the person who are working in these sectors, they work for 4 months and they earn a decent amount of money that they can survive for a whole year. But still, the one who is trained professionally, like the one who is trained in a foreign language, hospitality management, they come to metro cities like Delhi and Mumbai or some other urban places. They work for 8 months. Sometimes they go to the respective country, like whatever language they learn, and they work in these industries as a translator and interpreter. uh, Also the foreign versus local expectations of behavior. There is also a very huge cases of intercultural marriage. One of the scholar on Bodhgaya, David Gary, theorizes it as Japanese wives as social capital and geographical dowry. So what happens? People are the Japanese girls are marrying local youths, and the number is quite huge. So the when we talk about dowry, it is given to people or based on their class, their earning capacity, their family structures. But if you are from Bodh Gaya, uh, you will be given a dowry just because you are from Bodh Gaya. So the private hospitality industry started with the intercultural marriages. Some people married Japanese girls. They went to Japan. They brought funds for building hotels and guest houses in Bodh Gaya. So it has started from there. Some of them become role model uh, for the local youth. And like there was a time that if you ask a local kid, 10 years, 11 years old, that what do you want to become? So they wanted to say that I want to marry a Japanese girl. Because this was they brought lots of funds to Bodh Gaya. They brought uh, no they also brought, but the cases of Japanese marriages was huge. Ritual access and VIP pilgrimages, diplomatic groups, monastic leads. It also create problem for the local because in every tourist season, some head of the nation will be coming, king of Thailand or Philippines, or they will be coming. So they create a zoning, they create some kind of securitization in local market of Bodh Gaya. So the local people of Bodh Gaya face challenges in navigating their day-to-day life. During peak season, Tibetan tents and street markets create temporary diasporic neighborhoods. Sinhala pilgrims, Sri Lankan pilgrims fill guest houses around the Bhagalpur colony. Thai and Burmese food stall emerges near the monastery clusters. Volunteer groups clean roads, distribute foods, and organize meditation and heritage walks. So each spatial transformation reflects a temporal layer of global presence, making Bodhgaya a rhythm analysis of seasonal flows. Uh, and these monastic compounds not only reflect global Buddhist identities, but also reorganize urban space, producing nationality-based enclaves within the city. There will be some location that, okay, that this area, this village or this locality is dominated by Vietnamese group. This village is dominated by Sri Lankan group. This village is dominated by Tibetan. So they produce nationality-based enclaves within the city. So their construction pushes the urban boundary outward while intensifying spatial hierarchies between high-profile institutional plots and densely populated local mohallas. So this work is trying to reveal that a global network materializes in food, language, commerce, and built form. Monastic institutions act as a spiritual, economic, and developmental actors. Engage Buddhist welfare, reshapes the local aspirations. Bodh Gaya becomes an urban assemblage of multicultural spiritual publics. So this everyday world is where transnationalism, spiritual entrepreneurship, and engaged Buddhism becomes lived experiences. It is also where the contradiction of development inequality, dependence, aspiration, and ethical tensions play out. Uh, Several monasteries act as a semi-formal diplomatic hotspots. They sponsor chartered flights, they handle visa issues for their nationals, they negotiate with local administration and form influential bureaucratic networks. So I was doing an interview of a manager of a very popular Thai monastery. So he was saying that there are more than 20 monasteries which is linked with Thailand. So they are Thai monasteries. So the Royal Wat Thai, which was established in 1956 on the call of Jawaharlal Nehru. Jawaharlal Nehru wanted to create Bodh Gaya as a Buddhist homeland and homeland for Eastern religion, and he wanted to create a diplomatic zone like the Chanakyapuri is for the Buddhist countries. So he invited all the major nations, head of the major nations, to build their colony, to their monastery in Bodh Gaya, It started during 1956. So Royal Wat Thai was built in 1956 by the patronage of Royal King of Thailand. So it works as a mini embassy. If a Thailand, if a person is coming from Thailand and they're having some problem with visa, they're having problem with some ticketing. So these organizations work as a mini embassy. They will try to resolve with the bureaucratic structures. And if some local tension arises within these monasteries, the organizer or the manager of these monasteries do not go directly to the bureaucratic structure, administrative structure in Bodhgaya. They go to the Royal Wat Thai, and the Royal Wat Thai deals with the local administration. So thus transnational Buddhism in Bodhgaya is simultaneously religious, it is political, it is infrastructural, it is diplomatic, and it is developmental. Across the contemporary literature, the most significant transformation of Bodhgaya emerges from increasing presence of this transnational Buddhist lineages. The idea of Bodhgaya as worldling project emerges as a site where multiple national and sectarian Buddhist communities enact with their own modernities. Each tradition, Thai, Tibetan, Sri Lankan, Japanese, Korean, Burmese, Vietnamese groups, creates island of national religious presence through monasteries, cultural centers, schools, and ritual spaces. So these networks function as alternative infrastructure providers, often exceeding the state-led capabilities. As my fieldwork confirms, Thai monasteries operate year-round welfare centers. Uh, Tibetan institutions build large-scale ritual infrastructure like Nyingma Monastery, where in the open field, when the Dhamma talks are being given, hundreds of thousands of people can attend the talk, attend the Dhamma lectures, attend these teachings, and they have huge number of rooms. They can accommodate again hundreds of thousands of people in these rooms, and these kinds of monasteries are in large number. Uh, Sri Lankan establishment, they run scholarship programs. Japanese monasteries sponsor literacy and health initiatives. Korean and Taiwanese groups run temporary medical camps during the pilgrimage season. So this multiplicity fundamentally alters the nature of local governance and the distribution of resources within the town. Engaged with okay, sorry. So the most significant analytical insight emerges at the intersection of these three domains. If we mix transnational Buddhism with spiritual economies, it creates a globalized, commercialized, yet morally embedded urban economy. And if we mix the transnational Buddhism with engaged Buddhism, it generates welfare infrastructures independent or offer supplementary to the state. Or if we integrate spiritual economies with engaged Buddhism, it produces hybrid formations like meditation schools that fund social upliftment. And if all three are converging together, they shape Bodhgaya into a spiritual city with its own developmental grammar. So this triangulated process transformed Bodhgaya into a city of multiple sovereignties, a religious economic zone, a moral urban experiment, a living archive of global Buddhism, a site of a spiritual capital accumulation, and an education and welfare laboratory. So, drawing on the above analysis, this work conceptualizes Bodhgaya as a transnational moral city, a site produced through the circulation of spiritual authority, transnational resources, merit economies, philanthropic infrastructure, ethical pedagogies. Like there are certain schools in Bodhgaya, they follow critical pedagogy by Paulo Freire, they follow the universal education of Dalai Lama. So the transnational model city is not merely a pilgrimage geography; it is a living urban circuit where global spirituality and local life reshape each other continuously. Both transformation over the past 3 decades reflect a broader shift in the nature of sacred cities under globalization. Once a modest pilgrimage town, with minimal infrastructure. It has evolved into a complex religio-urban assemblage shaped by transnational Buddhist networks, welfare institutions, spiritual entrepreneurs, migrant laborers, and state and non-state actors. So these changes not linear, but produced through overlapping political, cultural, and economic forces. So one of the most visible transformation in Bodhgaya is the proliferation of monasteries, often built on large plot outside the original temple precinct. So these structures carry their national architecture styles. If the monastery is from Thailand, they will carry the architectural style of Thailand. They bring their architect, they bring their engineers, they bring their masons, they bring their designer from the Thailand. But they also need local laborers for doing the manual jobs like carrying cements, carrying bricks, and all. But they follow a very good conduct. Like there will be a strict timing that the labor has to report at 10 o'clock and they will work till 1 o'clock. Then they will get a break for 1 hour. Then again their work will start at 2 o'clock and it will end at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, and they are paid really well. If we compare with the agricultural and allied activities, they are paid more than 4 times, and they are treated with dignity inside these monastery complexes when they are being built. Uh, these monasteries carry national flags and their symbolic motifs. They built meditation halls and libraries. If you go to a Japanese monastery, you will feel like you are sitting inside a Japanese meditation hall. There will be a flooring will be of teak wood. On the walls, there will be paintings of Japanese. The ceilings will be painted with the life of Buddha. Uh, this creates a very serene and kind environment for doing meditations, and they also build landscaped gardens within the ritual grounds. So these monastic compounds not only reflect global Buddhist identities but also reorganize urban space, producing nationality based enclave within the cities. Their constructions pushes the urban boundary outward while intensifying spatial hierarchies between high profile institutional plots. Sorry, I think I'm limited. Okay. So, so historical disputes over Mahabodhi temple between Hindus, Buddhists, colonial officials, and heritage authorities continue to shape contemporary governance. UNESCO designation has added another layer of regulation, frequently producing tension over the authentic restoration of style of heritage zoning, permissible construction height, visitor management during the mass ceremonies. So, thus, Bodhgaya's urban regulation is not simply bureaucratic; it is also a site of value conflict where antiquity, ritual freedom, heritage tourism, and religious sovereignty intersect. Uh, so local youth increasingly seek employment in hospitality sector, translation work, meditation facilitation. So this marks a significant shift from the agricultural economy that dominated until the early 1990s. This also brings migrant labor during the Kalchakra Puja, Tibetan gatherings, Thai festivals, or winter pilgrimage peaks. Bodhgaya becomes a temporary employer for Nepali workers, seasonal migrants from Jharkhand and West Bengal, Tibetan vendors, Burmese cooks, local transport operators. There are several restaurants in Bodhgaya which serve authentic Chinese food, like they bring the chef from China during the season. They bring authentic chef from Thailand to cook the Thai food. There are several restaurants, there are several hotels which is doing this since a long time. So as my fieldwork shows, these locals increasingly identify themselves as hosts to the world, workers of the Buddhist city, global facing citizens, and lastly the guardians of the Buddha's land. Sorry. Urban transformation is in both Gaya is not accidental. It is produced through transnational religious flows, monasteries, which is monasteries, pilgrims, and donors, spiritual economies, which includes retreats, hospitality, and wellness, engaged Buddhist institutions, which include education and welfare initiatives, heritage infrastructure, UNESCO, ASI, and BTMC, local labor and aspiration, and global ideas of spirituality and well-being. So together, these forces create a hybrid urban form, part pilgrimage center, part spiritual marketplace, part welfare hub, part transnational diplomatic zone. Thank you. And there are some pictures which I have taken during the fieldwork. This is an international Buddhist house which was being built by Japanese people. Another Indo-San Nipponji library. It has a very good collection of Japanese language books. And if you want to learn Buddhism, and the last picture is this is a colony built by a Taiwanese organizations. They have built 2 BHK flats for the underprivileged marginalized section, and now this organization is building a super multi-specialty hospital sprawling across 100 acres in Bodhgaya. This organization has already built a very big hospital in Jakarta. Now they are coming to Bodhgaya. They have a Thai organization have already built a 100 bed 100 rooms hospital in Bodh Gaya, which is going to inaugurate this year. The Association of Medical Doctors of Asia, they run a clinic there. These are some of the posters like digital art initiatives. There is a Hojo collection. There was a professor of from Japan who was teaching in Daikyo University. He studied at the University of Delhi in Department of East Asian Studies, and he donated all his collection to a library in Bodh Gaya, and it is open to everyone. And there is a poster of Tibetan massage inside a Tibetan monastery. I have interviewed the Katoko Makayana. She is only women nun in Bodh Gaya, head of a monastery. And these are some of the slogans. The third one is a picture of a meditation hall inside a Tibetan monastery. And the another picture is there was a donation drive organized by a Vietnamese group. So these are the picture of that. And the last and in the last row, these are the pictures of inside the monastery. They, if you go inside, they look like proper five-star facilities. Uh, there is a banner of International Peace Conference organized in Bodh Gaya, and another one is the picture of another meditation center. This is a very famous Thai monastery in Bodh Gaya, Wat Niranjana Ravas. And the last one is the picture of a stupa, a Tibetan stupa in Paleo Namdroling Monastery. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Siddharth, for this is really fascinating talk, and I truly mean it. And also, I think like generally when we think of tourism, we immediately just think about how it boosts economy. And I think your talk is very interesting because we are talking about not just any tourist spot, but we are talking rather of a tourist spot in Bihar, which is a religious, touristic spot. And it talk kind of shows us like how tourism and the urban space interact, and how it can, like, when the tenets or the principles of religion come together, how it can, or how it can actually create a model for urban development. But I think your talk was quite descriptive. There was a lot of details in there, so I think I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions for you. So I'll open the floor for Q&A.
Thank you so much, Rama, for this kind address.
We have some questions online. Should I? Yes? Okay. So there's one question for you, Siddharth. Can transnational capital work without the state intervention, or is the state present and guide these developments?
Uh, yeah, so they cannot work without the state intervention because you have to follow the guidelines of the state. Like if you are opening an NGO, international NGO, you have to get the FCRA license. And both guys placed as an NGO capital in a scholarly work. NGO capital of India. There are more than 50 to 70 70 NGOs which has FCRA registration within the vicinity of 3 to 4 kilometers, and more than 500 NGOs which are not linked with FCRA. So they need state intervention. The state manages, but uh, I would say, with my observation, the state has left these institutions to operate on their own. Thank you.
There's one more question. Can you elaborate more about your methodology and particularly about ethnographic studies? What difficulty do you have faced during the field survey? What are the precautions that need to be taken care of during the ethnographic survey?
So yeah, I have. Sorry, what was the first?
Like about your methodology.
Achha, methodology. So it is a mixed method. I have followed mixed methodology. I have done the archival work. I have mixed with ethnography. So I am doing interviews with the head monks, the head abbots of the monasteries, and the managers of these hotels, tour operators, and the NGO leaders. So the first of all, if you, I was facing one kind of difficulty during the interviews that people were not opening up. They were not giving much information because this is a very niche and guarded terrain. People do not like, they do not want to discuss in a very further detail. Like again, I was facing a less out because I was a local. People think that okay, I want to come into this spiritual entrepreneurship business, so I had to clear it out. No, I do not have these intentions. My intentions are purely academic. Then after a point of time, after spending time with them, after roaming with them, after observing their works, they opened up, and it took a quite lot of time.
May I ask when did you begin your field?
I began my field work last year.
Okay, last.
It has been more than a year.
There's one more question for you. I know you have mentioned that you are not focusing much on Shaivism, Buddhism debate, but are you looking at how increasing Hinduization in and around Buddhist temples, especially in Mahabodhi temple, and the mud is affecting pilgrims, Indian and foreign, as well as the local communities in Bodhgaya? And given the frequent protests on these issues, especially in the last 2 years, and the Buddhist community's unhappiness and discontent with recent changes, how do you navigate your fieldwork as a researcher?
As the person has mentioned that I'm not delving much into it, but yeah, the issues which is being brought up in Bodh Gaya, the disturbances which is being created inside the Mahabodhi temple, it will form a part of my study in the criticism section. Uh, uh, and what was the next? I would like to write the question.
Okay, okay. So basically, they are asking question about how this Hinduization, something we were
Yes,
discussing.
yes. Yes.
So how it is becoming difficult for Buddhist people, and how how this whole issue kind of figured out in your fieldwork. Did it create difficulty for you to navigate your fieldwork?
No, it did not create any difficulty in navigating. But yes, like when I was interviewing the people who are staying for long term in Bodh Gaya, so they flagged this issue. It was not benign. They flagged this issue that these kind of things are happening. There is increasingly presence of Hinduization inside the Mahabodhi temple, especially inside the Mahabodhi temple. If you say that it is happening elsewhere in the town, it is not very much evident, but you visit inside the Mahabodhi temple, it is very much evident. And the interviewees, they clearly mentioned that due to these things, they are facing difficulties in their day-to-day ritual practices.
But if I can extend this question, how your own identity as a researcher, given which religious community you are coming from, how did it affect your access? Because you are in the field during all this protest and unhappiness among the community. Did it affect your access? Right?
No, it did not affect my access. It did not.
All right. Huh.
So, thanks for thanks Siddharth for your really fascinating presentation.
Thank you so much.
It's really interesting. I look forward to seeing more of this actually. But I have one question, which is about we were talking about the committee, with the 50% Hindus, 50% Muslim, Buddhist
Hindu.
representation, and how it worked out. Could you tell us a little bit more about the relationship actually between the Indian state, which I'm guessing this is the Bihar government, that runs this committee, that basically nominates all the members to this committee.
Yes.
So I guess it's controlled by the Bihar government. And they then have to relate to all the foreign missions in a sense. So it's a kind of diplomatic role that the government also has to play over there. Could you tell us a little bit more about the kind of texture and interaction? I don't know anything that you've looked at to understand that relationship and to understand, do they only control the temple or do they also control the kind of surrounding interactions, the international monasteries, even the development approval, because all of these monasteries will need some kinds of, development approval in order to be established, land clearances, things like that. So could you tell us a little bit more about how this, you mentioned the infrastructural absence of the state, but I'm guessing that there must still be a regulatory presence of the state somewhere. Could you say a little bit more about that?
So yeah, the BTMC acts as a kind of a diplomatic mission. All of the monasteries, all of the retreat centers, they report to BTMC, and everything is managed by BTMC. They they regulate the monasteries, and if the person is staying in the monastery has to give data to the respective superintendent of police office that who are staying, who are not staying, and but yeah, they do have control over these monasteries and these retreat centers in a very large extent. But at the same time, there is a cohesion between these monasteries and BTMC. They are not uh, due to my field work, or due to my observation, I can say that there is not much friction between. They are not in a conflict between, no, BTNC is not in conflict with monasteries, or monasteries they have found a way that they both are living coherently, they are working coherently, and there is a cohesion between the BTMC authority and these international Buddhist networks. There is a really good cohesion. These That's all.
Any more questions? Okay. Yes, Partha.
Thanks so much. So, three sort of quick sort of lines of inquiry. It's such a fascinating level of detail. So, one is, as you so richly pointed out, there are Bodhgaya is like a confluence because it's one space where Buddhists, regardless of whatever sect they're coming from, they are coming into Bodhgaya. So, do you see spaces where conversations within Buddhism are taking place, where these different groups are speaking to each other? Are there spaces? Because you mentioned very nicely about how each space was representative of the places they came from. But are there also intersectional spaces where they are conversing with each other, if that structure is happening? The second is related to the issue of about 100 kilometers from Bodhgaya is, of course, the Nalanda University, and now the new sort of the old site, and maybe a little about 10 kilometers earlier, the new Nalanda University. And there also, in some sense, they do have a Southeast Asian orientation recently as part of the MEA's activities, and this reflects the question of government engagement. They have been organizing like India's role in the Buddhist heritage of these areas and so on. So do you see any engagement between the Bodhgaya ecosystem and the sort of more quote unquote secular educational ecosystem of Nalanda? Do you see any of those issues that are sort of coming through? And the third story is, you've been sort of putting forward this very nice evocative structure on how they're speaking different languages and different spaces and so on. So do you have a sense of the ethnography of these communities, in some sense, is the kind of access Bihar, of course, is changing, but it's still like Rajasthan and so on and so forth. Social hierarchies are important in very many ways. Do these completely foreign, quote unquote, engagement, do they disrupt those hierarchies in some radical way, or are they sort of reproducing them in some fashion?
So, yeah. Coming to the third question about the social hierarchies, uh, they do not disrupt. They are very much aware of the social realities there. And I was doing an interview of the president of International Buddhist Council. Uh, so he has adopted like more than 30 villages in the vicinity of Bodhgaya, and some in far more distant from the Bodhgaya. So, and these villages belong mostly from the underprivileged section. This organization was building infrastructure in these villages, but the people demanded that we want statue of Ambedkar at the same time with the sidelines of Buddha. So they are not disrupting this social hierarchy, but they are strengthening and they are trying to mitigate this social hierarchy by the way of through education and other initiatives. And coming to second question about secular and the connection between Nalanda and Bodh Gaya. Certainly, there is a connection between Nalanda University, the old Nalanda University, and uh, Bodh Gaya, because whenever there is an inspection or visit of high dignitaries to Nalanda or Nalanda, they after a point of time they come to Bodh Gaya, and these all become intertwined. These issues become intertwined, and sorry, I forgot the first question.
First question was, you have very people from all different sects of
Yes,
Buddhism.
I got the question.
But
Yes,
is there conversation happening?
they do converse within a single platform. There are certain conferences like World Peace conferences, which is being organized by all the sects of all the traditions. And like again, when the BTMC calls for a meeting, so the people from every tradition come together and they talk at the single platform. It is there.
Is there discourse about religious aspects, about religious philosophy in terms of, you know, engaging with different interpretations of Buddhism? Is there?
Yes, there has been like a debate between two traditions of Buddhism. The people from two traditions will sit together and they will give Dhamma talks, and the people will ask questions like, how does this differ from that? So these things are happening in some monasteries where because the Westerners are some of the Westerners who are lay, they do not understand that what does the Jain Buddhism says, what does the Theravada say, what does the Mahayana says. So when they are lay, they do not understand these things. So there will be some gurus, there will be some authority who can explain these things in a better way. So these kind of programs are being organized.
And just one follow up on what you just said about social hierarchy disruption. When you're speaking, I was trying to form a visual map of Bodh Gaya. So is your data such that you can actually spatialize and you can see whether, because you said when you spoke, it looked as if there were clusters where one group was spatially in one, neighborhood, another group was spatially in another neighborhood. So is that the pattern, that if I actually did a map of Bodh Gaya, I could locate each area by its neighborhood? And if so, in terms of, yes, you have these formal interactions, but in terms of informal interactions where people monks from different orders are engaging with each other, are there such common spaces that are created within the city?
Like enclaves are very much it is nationality based, and it is again mohalla and locality based, but this is not the true, this is not the complete picture. There are some places where you will find people, the monasteries or the institutions from all other nations. uh, yeah, but there is a time like after 5 o'clock, after 5 p.m., every head of the monastery, every head abbot or the nun or whatever position they are holding, they come together at Mahabodhi temple and they pray together. The, there is a fixed time, but everyone comes, everyone who is kind of an authority in Bodhgaya's landscape, they go to Mahabodhi temple at a particular time, and they do this ritual together, irrespective of their sect and traditions. Thank you so much.
Sects which is more progressive and more conservative, so kind of interaction with local services.
I could not get your question.
Two sects, which are the more conservative and which are more progressive in terms of interaction with the locals?
As this is a question pertaining to Buddhist studies, I would not comment in a very detail. But yeah, if related, if you are asking with the reference to locals, I would say Mahayana.
What is
Yes, but I'm not a scholar of Buddhist studies, so this is not my domain.
Hi, my question is more related to the governance structure of the place. There is, as you said, is a Bodhgaya Temple Management Committee, but is there also a local government, Bodhgaya, Gaya Municipal Corporation, or Nagarpalika? And what is their role in managing these very disparate stand-alone enclaves? What kind of relationship there is between local government and these institutions? But my second question is that the spatial structure of these enclaves seems that they're very spread out. They're not necessarily in the town, they are maybe also in the village. So would it make sense to think of, as they were thinking, of developing that entire temple complex as a special development zone?
A master plan was made.
Yes,
Was made.
it has been created.
What was its?
There's stay on it.
Yeah, there is a stay on by
So
High Court.
what was its governance structure, or what was proposed? I mean, having a master plan, but who will implement it? Who will manage it? Who will regulate it? So I think these are important, perhaps not from your kind of cultural ethnographic study, but for managing that space, these are important questions. So local government and the spread out structure, how does it look to you and how is it governed?
So yeah, there is a municipality. It's called Nagar Parishad Bodhgaya, which manages the local affairs, day-to-day affairs of Bodhgaya. And there is a special politics in Bodhgaya. Like what happened, as you mentioned, that these are all clustered within the nearby villages. So what happened 3 to 4 years back, these villages used to come under panchayat. So these were called agricultural land. So the Nagar Parishad did a very smart move. They included all these villages into the Nagar Parishad, so they can regulate these things. They can regulate these places. And there is an issue of ASI taking lands of these places, because there are archaeological evidences which states that this place can be linked with Buddha's life. So one issue happened in Sujata village. It's called Bakror, but in foreigners term it's called Sujata village. Near the Sujata Gad, they tried to take the ASI tried to take the lands of local people. The local people resisted, and they went on to courts and they filed cases. So the ASI and the government had to pay very high amount of price. Again, there is the politics of corridor. The government has passed a corridor in Bodh Gaya and in Vishnupad. So this is in the news, that not in the news. This is a talk inside the local people, that the Nagar Parishad has stopped giving like they have stopped licensing the maps of the house. Like if you want to construct a house, you can construct a house, but the Nagar Parishad will not give you permission, because if these places will be broken, you have to pay the compensation according to this. So there is a special politics included in this, and one of my friend is pursuing her PhD on the issue. You have told she is doing her PhD from an international university in Japan. Thank you so much.
We have a question. We have a question from Rajiv Ranjan. Do you want to ask your question or should I read it out? So I'm reading your question. Okay, so Siddharth, you have this question from Rajiv. If Vishnupad temple is the officially recognized site for Pindadan, how do we understand the increasing performance of Pindadan rituals inside the Mahabodhi temple complex? Something I personally witnessed in 2022. And what does this shift reveal about contested sacred geographies, emerging tourism driven religious economies, and the ways global Buddhist networks are generating new economic spheres, including foreign language services and international pilgrimage based tourism in Bodhgaya? Good to know.
Yeah. So I would like to say that
Pindadan.
yeah. So the concept of Pindadan, it is related with Vishnupad temple. But some of the traditions has been showing that it can be done in any place in Gaya. Like there are several places which is associated with Pindadan. There are places in both Gaya, not there are places which is very far from Gaya town. So these all are associated. Lalit Prasad Vidyarthi has done a remarkable work on this concept, the sacred politics of this Pindadan ritual. And coming to the performing Pindadan inside Mahabodhi temple, it is just a politics, and nothing more than that. Uh,
Yeah. So yeah, that's what he was asking about Pindadan, and he's kind of asking how it affects the tourism-driven religious economy.
the activities of Pindadan, which usually happens before the season starts, but still there will be people, there will be tourists, there will be pilgrims who are coming. They get disturbed. I have personally interviewed the pilgrims. They are kind of when they are meditating, when they are doing prostration, where they're doing circumambulation. So yeah, this is a matter of contestation.
Is it the case that the Pindan inside the Mahabodhi temple is because among people who believe that Buddha is an incarnation of Vishnu? Is that the sort of logic? I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah. This is all part of the politics. This is all part of the politics. Like
Do you have more questions? Okay, I want to ask a few questions. First question, because you're talking a lot about how the principles of Buddhism kind of operate in this geography, or in this space. So I wanted to know, what is the relationship between this principle and the crime? What is the texture of crime? Are they like, does it affect, like, does it reframe people, these ethics, these morals, to not commit crimes? Or what is the percentage or share, or is it very low there? That is my question.
Coming to this principle, and so there is fetishization of social work. There are cases of corruptions. There are economic crimes. But coming to physical crimes, there was a case in 2013, I guess, that a Japanese girl was raped. But even before that, or even today, if you are a foreigner, if you are a local, it does not matter. Like you go to dawn, you go in the evening, you go in the night, you are wearing completely Western dress, and you are meditating in a very mundane place where no one is around, you are still safe. No one is going to do harm to you, because you are alone and you are a woman, and uh, you are in a Western race or whatever it is. Sorry for my incorrect political language, but these people feel safe in Bodhgaya. They will roam in the night with a group alone. They will do walking meditation, but they do not feel any kind of threat that they will be attacked or they will be looted. But yeah, there are cases of economic crime, but not this kind of physical crime I have heard in the recent news.
And this sense of safety is also for the local women, because what you are referring to is the tourist women who are coming and doing whatever. But what happens to the women who are like from Bihar, from Bodhgaya, locally living? Is there that similar sense of safety, at least, or semblance of safety for them?
I would disagree.
Okay. I'm just asking. Okay. And I want to take up that last question which Partho asked, and you gave this example where, like, where somebody adopted these villages, and then people demanded that a statue should be installed of Ambedkar. So did it happen or not?
Yeah, it is happening.
It is happening.
It is happening.
So, and this installing of Ambedkar statue, does it, like, create antagonism between, like, upper class or Dalits or some Hindu, non-Hindu conflict? Nothing.
Nothing. Like, because most of these villages are dominated by the marginalized sections. Like, these villages constitute only the underprivileged sections.
Any questions? Yeah.
I'm just curious, just following up from what Pushpa said. Will you be looking at, or have you looked at the kind of issues that come up during local elections? Are these religious issues or issues around too many foreigners, too little, some restrictions, some not? Is there any connection between local electoral issues and the kind of phenomena that you have described so far?
Talking about the electoral politics at the national level, at the parliament level and the assembly level, it is not very much evident. But when we talk about the municipality election, when we talk about the panchayat elections, these transnational Buddhist networks is very active. They fund the candidates. They give money to the local candidates because they want the representation in the municipality, in the panchayat. But coming at the parliamentary and assembly election, it is negligible. Yeah, they do know. They know very clearly that, okay, this person is funded by let's say, a Japanese person, and another candidate is funded by let's say, a Thai person. They know. The local people know.
Does, and especially the elected representatives, how much of a role do they actually play in the governance of Bodhgaya, other than the waste management? I don't imagine
they are kind of a licensing authority. Their role is for the construction, for passing of these maps and all these things. They are more of a licensing authority than.
according to the
Yes.
And the bylaws don't really exist. But the master plan is still on the master plan.
Bylaws can exist without.
Yeah, actually the vicinity of Bodhgaya has been bifurcated into 3 zones. The core, which is the inside Mahabodhi temple, and the buffer zone, which is around the Mahabodhi temple, and the periphery, which is around 2 kilometers of Bodhgaya. And again, with the coming of this much of international presence, the land prices have rise rapidly, and there are very much mediators who are, and the buyers are foreigners. So the prices is as in the core and buffers in the periphery, the prices is as high as South Delhi, because the buyers are international and there are very big mediators lobby which is involved. No, they form a trust where local people are there. Yeah. Local people are involved there.
they do it all legally or we sometimes illegal because the in construction property means a lot of black money is also used. So is they are also into that or they are just everything is legal?
Most of the things are illegally. It is not very much presence, and I did not come through it. It is mostly legal. The money they come, it comes through the FCRA.
Okay, okay.
So it is legal. It is not. I would not say that.
So
I could not find any instances which is
considered trust
illegal.
and organizations are having those colonies and all that.
Yeah, even there are some individuals who are buying lands, but again with the properly legal route. Not I have not come through any such cases.
Thank you.
मान्यवर मैं इतिहास का विद्यार्थी हूँ, स्टूडेंट ऑफ कंपैरेटिव स्टडी इन द एवोल्यूशन ऑफ हिस्ट्री. सो ऑन दैट ऑन दोज बेसिस आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन. जो मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि जो बुद्धिज्म है, आप इसकी हिस्ट्री को देखते हैं और हिस्ट्री ऑफ द रिलीजन्स कंपैरेटिव स्टडी करते हैं, तो किसी समय में ये इसका विस्तार बहुत विस्तार था बियॉन्ड अफगानिस्तान एंड डीप इनटू रशिया एंड अदर प्लेसेस एंड फार ईस्ट एंड so forth, right? इसका ह्रास हुआ. उस कारणों में मैं नहीं जाऊंगा. दबा दिया गया, मार दिया गया, काट दिया गया, भगा दिया गया, छीन लिया गया. ये कॉर्नर में कर दिए गए. Now they are in the corner now. They have been cornered, so to say. Historically speaking, Buddhism is cornered. Right? Being cornered, इसको भी स्टेट की हेल्प नहीं मिलती है. स्टेट की हेल्प नहीं मिलती है, तो ये उठ नहीं सकता. अगर तो ये बुरा है तो इसे खत्म कर दो, अगर ये अच्छा है तो इसको आगे जाने दो, और अगर आगे जाने दो उसको स्टेट अगर हेल्प नहीं करती तो आगे कभी नहीं जाएगा. और ये छोटी छोटी बातें म्यूनसिपैलिटी कहती है, वो ये कहता है, काउंसलर ये कहता है, व्हाई वी गेट बाउंड डाउन सच थिंग्स. अगर चीज करना है, जो काम किया जाता है उसमें ये नहीं देखा जाता ये बुलडोजर चल रहा है सब जगह. यहाँ कोई जिसको कहते हैं इंटेलेक्चुअल बुलडोजर नहीं चलता है. यहाँ भी वो भी बुलडोजर चलना चाहिए कि जो भी चीजें रास्ते में आ रही है उनको बुलडोज कर दो. हमें ये करना है तभी बुद्धिज्म आगे जाएगा. अगर उसको इससे वर्थ कैरी फॉरवर्ड, इट शुड बी कैरी फॉरवर्ड. आई एम वेरी सिंपल, इट्स वर्थ कैरी फॉरवर्ड, शुड बी कैरी फॉरवर्ड. नहीं तो फिर साफ कहो भी नहीं, इसको जाने दो, बाहर में जाने दो. नहीं तो उसके बाद स्टेट उसमें क्यों, मैं क्यों कहा फॉरेनर्स. मैंने कुशीनगर भी गया हूँ और जगह भी गया हूँ. फॉरेनर्स बेचारे कुछ करते हैं, ये थोड़ा यहाँ बना दिया, सराय बना दी, वो कर दिया, वो इसको मेंटेन कर रहे हैं. जहां से बुद्धिज्म पैदा हुआ, जहां से बुद्ध सरकार में सारे संसार में फैला, वहां कुछ नहीं किया जा रहा. ये मेरा कहना है. क्यों नहीं हम सरकार के पीछे पड़ते. क्या क्या बुराई है बुद्धिज्म में? आप सब चीजों को बढ़ावा दे रहे हो. आप इसका इतिहास नहीं जानते क्या? क्यों इसको बैकलॉग में डाला है? इसको आगे चले क्यों नहीं करो? That is my point.
Should I comment on it? So I did not say that the government is not supporting these initiatives. The whole lecture was about the state neglect of Bodhgaya as a town, not as a Buddhist place. The government of India has launched many campaigns: Incredible India Tourism, Bharat Dekho, Buddhism tourist circuits. The government of India is trying to revive these Buddhist circuits at a very international scale. They are doing their best. They are doing. These government diplomatic posts are going to US, they're going to the South Asian nations, they are requesting people to visit Bodhgaya. And but this talk was particularly related to the neglect of in the terms of infrastructure. The government is actively supporting these initiatives. Whatever you are saying, I do not agree with you at all.
मैंने ये कहा not doing enough, right?
वो अब जो भी है, हाँ नहीं बात सही है. आपकी एक रवैया है, उनका वो वहां पे बैठ के उनको जो समझ में आया है वो अपना विचार रख रहे हैं. तो इनफ के बारे में तो हमेशा कई चीजें हो सकती हैं, बट और कोई अगर सवाल नहीं है तो फिगर आउट समथिंग. Are there any other, there are two more Q&As, Rama?
They are like,
Yeah. They are online Q&As, so maybe we can take them short.
Yes. Have there been cases of FCRA being terminated in Bodhgaya? A few cases have come to your knowledge.
It did not come to, it did not collide with my study.
2 cases have been reported
Okay.
about that. So that's what I.
Okay. I did not go through that. I would like to talk about it with you in detail.
there's an online question for you, Siddharth. What is the meaning of spiritual entrepreneurship? Is it same or different from spiritual neoliberalism?
See, a spiritual entrepreneurship is a concept in which the spiritual intent of the Dhamma or these processes is being monetized. Monetized in a sense that these things which you experience should be available to everyone, but it has a cost. And if we take example from Bodhgaya, whatever I was talking about, these retreat centers, they do not have a requisite fee. Sometimes they say that this will be a requisite fee, this will be a minimum fee, which is a donation based, but these things are very much donation based. So when we monetize in a way these spiritual activities, it becomes a spiritual entrepreneurship. I'm not aware about this.
There's one more question. Ravi Ranjan, if you're online, you can ask your question. Judge. Ravi Ranjan. Okay, maybe I'll read this question. If the Gaya Mahatmya and Garuda Puran affirm the entire Gaya Kshetra, not only Vishnu but temple, as a valid terrain for Pinddan, how should the performance of these rites within both Gaya's Buddhist precincts be understood in light of India's constitutional guarantee of freedom of religion under Article 25 to 28? Do you want to respond to this first thing?
Yeah. So inside the Mahabodhi temple, it is a very contested. Like it is not said that it is only a Buddhist site or it is only a Hindu site. It is a very contested terrain. So this article does not come into picture, I believe.
And since Bhagavad Purana frames the Buddha as Vishnu avatar, a doctrinal position not uniformly accepted, how do these overlapping textual and constitutional sayings shape the contemporary contestations over sacred space in both? I think I have same question.
Yeah, this is the same question.
You want to respond?
Again, I would say that if we are, I'm in the opinion that until or unless it is not finalized that whose claims should be more valid or who will be the custodians, we should not delve much more into this debate, because this is not going. We are not coming to any fruitful discussion over this. These are the authorities who will decide that whose stakes are more inside the temple premises. It is not fruitful to discuss. Thank you so much.
The members, there are 4, you said Hindu members and 4 Buddhist members. Do you have any sense of the relations between them? Do they are they a relatively, are they like the Congress and the BJP or whatever the story is, or are they much more unified in preserving the status of the Mahabodhi as the kind of spiritual space it is?
If coming to the structure of BTMC, I would say all that members agree with each other most of the time. There is no clash inside the structure of BTMC, as I have observed. And it is not like Congress or BJP. The state government appoints all the 8 members, and the chairman is de facto the DM of Gaya. No, he is the whoever will be the DM of Gaya. DM of the ex officio, the secretary is mostly a Buddhist. now it can be of any religion. Before to 2013, like either it has to be if the DM of Gaya is not a Hindu, the chairmanship would be given to a Hindu person. So now, but this is not repealed in 2013 amendment.
Here's a question. Yeah.
So it was a really nice study if we look through the lens of urbanization and development. I would like to ask just one question. Do you think this is a good model which can be used to develop other places in India like Ladakh?
Yeah, this is a wonderful model because here everyone is a player. Here everyone is a stakeholder. Even the locals are a stakeholder. Even the a small student, even not because this is developed with a very much deliberation of and with it is rooted in not in administrative or bureaucratic logic. It is rooted in this the dhamma urbanism. So it will be a really good model, and Ladakh is already going on the same line. Thank you so much.
There's one question for him online, okay? Just a clarity, I think. You mentioned that all the major developments of this study is made by transnational Buddhism and state neglect these developments. And on the other side, you said a state has promoting Buddhism by various means. Isn't it contradictory in nature? From what you responded now?
Yeah. So when I was talking about the state neglect, I was talking in the terms of infrastructure. What Bodhgaya has and what Bodhgaya should have as a global city. Because I have written in the caravan that Bodhgaya received highest number of foreign tourists in the year 2019. So the infrastructure as a highest number of foreign tourists coming in Bodhgaya, what the government should build it up. But this is being taken by international, transnational Buddhist networks. And when I'm talking about promotion by the government of India or government of Bihar, they are promoting the heritage branding. They're promoting they're trying to create an awareness about these Buddhist circuits in India. They're trying to lure more pilgrims, more tourists. So both are different things. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wait. There's a question for you. Yeah.
Okay.
I-
Since you have really emphasized on the transnational circuit and the developmental projects taken up by them, and like the Buddha preached mainly about the Eightfold Path, which speaks about right action, right mindfulness, right memory. So, do the transnational circuit, while taking up developmental projects, do they keep in mind the Eightfold Path while taking up the projects? And can you please explain it with some examples? Because, like just you have mentioned, like the foreign monasteries or something, they're funding up the elections, local elections. Do you think that this falls under the Eightfold Path taken up by Buddha? Like I don't see it as right action or right good intent. So can you explain?
Yeah, these development, as I have already mentioned, it is guided by Buddhist ethics, by Buddhist principles. They follow the Eightfold Path. Like when I mentioned about this, the labor the issue of labor, they follow the Eightfold policy, like right conduct, right speech. They do follow. And coming to your next section about the funding of election, it is not led by the group. It is led by individuals who have stayed in Bodhgaya for more than 20 to 30 years. So it is an individual specific, not as a cluster of the transnational Buddhist networks. Thank you.
Okay. One more question online. So a follow-up question on the model. The model is great. Why do you think it has taken so much time to even build a decent hospital, or maybe even have a decent road connection between different sites like Rajgir, Nalanda, Gurpa, and Vaishali.
Everything takes place gradually. Like before 2002, there was no international airport, so the interaction was very limited. People used to come to Patna by flight. Then they used to travel to Bodhgaya. It used to take a long time. So in 2002, two major development happened in Bodhgaya. The Gaya International Airport was inaugurated, and at the same time, Mahabodhi temple got UNESCO World Heritage Site status. So things are changing after 2002 in a very rapid manner. But we cannot say that they are not accountable to us. We cannot go and demand that we want this as we can demand to the governments. They are doing it at their own pace.
But you said they are making hospitals.
Yeah, they are making hospital.
Any more questions from the room? Okay, once again, thank you so much, Siddharth, for your fascinating presentation and for your response patiently to all the questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.